up, everyone? It's me, Stef The Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dose of the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because King Charles has shut down Prince Harry's attempts to rejoin the royal family, even after that reunion, even after all the bump, right? Of, oh my goodness, Hazard is going to be going on more public trips with King Charles as a show of unity, this, that, and the other. Yeah. No. King Charles has shut that down. He has shut that BS down. How? Well, let's get into it right now with this article from The Telegraph. King Charles has made it clear to Hazard he cannot be a half-in, half-out royal. So, as far as I'm concerned, right, Team Hazard have been turning around and saying, you know, he'd love to pick up the slack with everything going on at the moment, you know, continue with his private life and then in between do a little bit of royal stuff. Basically a fluffed up freaking word salad thing of saying he still wants to be half in, half out, right? Well, King Charles is not falling for that scam. And so he is shutting down Hazard's attempts to rejoin the royal family. So we've got a royal source talking to The Telegraph saying the following. The king has been absolutely clear in upholding his late mother's decision that there can be no half-in, half-out public role for members of the royal family. And he is following Queen Elizabeth II's ruling on rejecting Hazard and Meg's request for a half-in, half-out royal role that they originally made at the so-called Sandringham Summit. And so here, according to royal author Angela Levin, Hazard was left deeply disappointed by the strict terms imposed by the royal family. Hazard reportedly envisaged a more flexible arrangement, allowing him and Megxie to balance their royal duties with personal pursuits. Half in, half out, right? The Queen's refusal to accommodate this request of half in, half out is said to have contributed significantly to Hazard and Megxie's decision to step back from their royal roles. And so, even before last week's reunion took place between Hazard and King Charles, it was actually confirmed that King Charles was never going to back down on Queen Elizabeth II's original ruling. Here, Daily Record, King Charles will never back down on late Queen's firm verdict on Harry and Meghan. The Sussexes will not be welcomed into the firm if they wish to be part-time royals, as their previous request to have a half-in, half-out role was firmly rejected by the late Queen Elizabeth and is continued to be firmly rejected by King Charles. And look at the date. This was by Jennifer Newton and Nicola Crowell for the Daily Record on the 29th of August, 2023. So, even before this reunion took place, right? King Charles confirmed he'll never back down on Queen Elizabeth II's ruling. Done. Dusted. He ain't going to have a half-in, half-out role. So King Charles is firmly shutting down Hazard's attempts to try and bulldoze his way back into the royal family. Well, unfortunately, at the moment, Hazard's not getting the freaking message. He's still trying to bulldoze his way through, and it's not going to work. So here, Daily Mail reported, smiling Harry and Meghan make a surprise joint appearance. As it emerges, he'll meet his father, King Charles, regularly, and aides plan first public appearance together in 6 years. High-level talks are underway to gradually bring King Charles and Prince Harry together in a public show of unity for the first time in at least 6 years. It's understood that courtiers in both households are tentatively discussing how to get father and son together more frequently over the next year, with a view to them finally appearing jointly at a public event. You see, this is Team Hazard, in my opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, yeah? Still trying to bulldoze his way back into the royal family. Yeah. King Charles has responded, turning around and shutting Hazard's attempts to rejoin the royal family. Still not going to happen. Ever. Ever. Just like fetch is never going to happen. Just like Megxie's flower sprinkles is never going to happen. Hazard trying to rejoin and bulldoze his way back into the royal family. That's never going to happen either. Stop trying to make it happen. It's never going to happen. Let it freaking go. Thing is, though, Hazard is so freaking desperate, right? He's let slip to the media the main reason he would move back to the UK, apparently. What's the main reason? Who gives a freaking shit? He's lying as far as I'm concerned. And this is just another example of him trying to bulldoze his way back into the royal family. Let me put it this way, right? It was only in the last 12 months, yeah? If memory serves me well, that Azza turned round and said he would never bring his family and Megxie back to the UK because it's such a dangerous place. So dangerous, in fact, that he would be so scared that Megxie would be a victim of a knife attack or an acid attack. Yeah, dude thinks that we don't have long memories. When it comes to Azza and Megxie, I definitely have a long memory. This is freaking BS. I don't give a shit what his main reason is to want to live back into the UK. He is lying to you all as far as I'm concerned. He's so freaking desperate to try and bulldoze his way back into the royal family. Thing is, though, whilst he's with Megxie, I don't think we need to worry about the royals accepting him back into the family, as she has allegedly 2 demands for a return that they're never going to accept. Here, you've got the article from The Express saying Meghan Markle has 2 demands before she'll agree to heal the royal rift. What are those 2 demands? Well, speaking to the Mirror last year, Tom Quinn said that Megxie has 2 things she wants to before she'll agree to heal the rifts. And that's an apology and niceness. So he says, quote, Harry would like a reconciliation, but supports his wife completely. And until she feels that the royal family have been sufficiently nice to her and grovelingly apologise for the past, it's not going to happen. Well, guess what? If this is the case, then Hazard being accepted back into the royal family is never going to happen. Because the royal family will never capitulate to Megxie's demands right here. Megxie is literally, as far as I'm concerned, based on what Tom Quinn's saying here, Megxie is wanting royal family to be on their freaking hands and knees begging for her forgiveness. I'm sorry, it should be the other way freaking around. Who the hell does she think she is? What the hell? But you know what? That's good news for us. Because Hazard is still royally screwed, as it should be. The royal family will never give in to these demands. And as such, that puts up a major, big, massive blocker for Hazard to ever want to return in any way, shape or form to the royal family. And ultimately, going around full circle here, Team Hazard, as far as I'm concerned, can send out all the stories they want, right? All the fluff pieces that they want, right? Oh, Hazard wants to reconcile. Hazard's such a good person. Hazard wants to be there for his father and he cares. Blah, 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 blah. It's all freaking BS. King Charles has just shut him down. His attempts to rejoin the royal family, turning around and saying, you're still angling for the half-in, half-out royal, not happening. So goodbye. Good freaking bye. As it should be. King Charles has enough on his plate, not only with his cancer treatment, but also the state of this country at the moment. The last thing King Charles needs to be doing is allowing that freaking snake to be back into the royal family and cause even more problems. Best believe. With that being said, those watching live, stay exactly where you are. I'm not done with you guys yet because we're going to get on to the third topic in a moment. Speaking of King Charles, he's facing his own Epstein scandal, and that's thanks to Fergie. Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of freaking York. Seriously, if you thought Prince Andrew provided like the biggest Epstein cloud over the royal family ever, Sarah Ferguson has just added to that 100 times over. What the deuce is going on? Well, for those watching live on YouTube or on X, stay exactly where you are, because I'm not done with you guys yet. But if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe to join our Alter Nerd tribe here on YouTube. If you're watching on X, make sure you're following me at Stef Alter Nerd for more misadventures of the gruesome twosome. And if you can, hype the hell out of this video right now and help the channel grow even further. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Again, those watching live, stay exactly where you are. I'm not done with you guys yet. But for those watching on the replay, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all your faces. And until the next time, you guys, laters.